Hey guys, 3D Doctor here, and today I'm really excited to bring you guys an unboxing and walkthrough of the Formbot T-Rex 3D printer and laser engraver. I'm really excited about this guy because it comes with a single extruder, dual extruder, high temp extruder, and a laser engraver, all for a 400 by 400 by 450 millimeter bed that's 16 inches by 16 inches by 18 inches. This is really cool because of the fact that it is very similar to the G-Create G-Max 1.5 XT, except for the fact that it's close to half the price. And it comes with all the features I just mentioned and a heated bed, which is missing from most of the other 3D printer companies that make similarly sized 3D printers. With the unboxing, I will go through the box. I will show you guys how well it's packed, and then I will get up close and show you guys every single piece that comes in the box. From there, I will move up closer so you guys can see what's actually in my hand as compared to just pointing at it from a distance. Pretty soon I will try to do a review of this 3D printer, except I want to take my time and actually calibrate the 3D printer before I pass judgment on it. A lot of people get a 3D printer and within a week they do a review, and if you have been in 3D printing as I have, you do realize that when you get a 3D printer, it is not always going to do its best straight out of the box. And we will see as I go along with this. I will try to continue updating and share my experience. For the sake of honesty, I did pay for this 3D printer out of my own pocket. It is for my own personal use. I hope you guys forgive me if I do make any mistakes. I just came back from a long trip and I'm just a little bit jet lagged still. Alright, if you guys do like the video, please do subscribe. I will have more videos coming along soon. Alright, let's get going. So I decided not to talk through the entire unboxing just because I really don't see a point to it. You guys can see what's coming out of the box, what's there, and after showing you guys this, I'm going to actually go through every single piece that comes in here. I had to go through the unboxing in my garage just because of the fact that this box was so huge, and I could only imagine that there would be a lot of foam and other stuff in it. So I thought it best to get it out on a piece of concrete, on a flat surface, take everything out of a box, make sure everything is there, and then later on do a little segment where I go through every single piece and talk about them. And so that's what I did. The box, the packaging, I cannot say enough about how well this was done. The entire thing arrived without a single dent on anywhere on this box. The whole thing is wrapped in tape, which I'm supposing is meant to make it somewhat waterproof. And then you have those green straps running along it. And then this cardboard box by itself is, from outside the tape, I thought it was wood. I was knocking on it and it felt like wood. It sounded like wood, but it's actually really, really dense cardboard. Once you get the box off, the top does pop off, and on the inside there is just foam everywhere. They've put this stuff, some sort of foam, just packing foam, but it is just stuffed in every nook and cranny. I don't think anything moved during shipment, and as you can see, there's a thick piece of foam on top. I think this is 1.5 or 2 inches thick foam, as you guys can see all the way around the box. And then I was just pulling out piece of foam after piece of foam. Every piece of plastic is printed plastic, 3D printed plastic, and all the electronics are wrapped in so much bubble wrap. I just couldn't believe it. I've had a lot of shipments coming to me from China, and this stuff is usually just thrown into a paper thin bag and sent out. This thing, the Formbot T-Rex, it is really well packed. I haven't started printing with this guy, but with the unboxing, I can tell you guys that nothing seems to have moved from China to here. I'll let you guys watch the rest of the video. At the very end of the video, I do find some loose pieces at the end, at the bottom of the box, but as I took out the frame and put it all next to each other, I realized that what had popped off were just end caps and a couple of screws that are used to put the frame together. So they weren't actually pieces that had fallen off. They were pieces that were meant to be loose to begin with, because they're used in the installation of the Z tower onto the footprint. I'm just taking out piece of foam after piece of foam. I did speed up the video for you guys so you don't have to sit through it forever. Okay, I'll let you guys keep watching this. There isn't much of it left, but again, I can't say enough about how well this was packed. Alright guys, well, as you can see, I've taken the 3D printer out of its box and all of its wrappings, most of its wrappings. It's about 99% unwrapped. All I've left behind is just some of the saran wrap or plastic that they've put on some of the electronics in the bed, just because I don't want to scratch it up while I'm putting it all together. I don't want to pull out any of the wiring out of the control box there. So I'm gonna do a quick walkthrough, go through everything, show you guys what comes in that huge box that we took everything out of. Okay, well, what you guys see here, what I'll do first is go through the big pieces. What you guys see here is the actual base that goes on the ground. This is the front of the 3D printer. It's actually an aluminum bed, heated aluminum bed, which is a nice touch because other companies that are making 3D printers this large, a lot of times not only do they not give you an aluminum bed, the bed that they do give you is not heated, which makes no sense to me, because if you're going to make a printer that is this expensive, why would you hold your customers to printing only PLA? Well, not to digress, we've got a aluminum bed, heated. We've got the power supply that sits under the bed, and back here we have our power switch and where the power plugs in. This whole thing, if I haven't mentioned it yet, the whole thing is made out of 40 by 40 aluminum extrusions held together with machine screws and T-nuts and bolts, which makes this very sturdy. I've been taking this stuff up and down the stairs, just bring him from downstairs where I unpacked it to the loft here where I do all of my 3D printing. And none of this stuff, it doesn't feel loose, it doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart, it's all just solid. Okay, to continue from there, something I didn't mention is that it actually comes with large, what I would say are 1-inch feet that it sits on, so this thing is not just plopped down on the ground. It does have feet that keep it off the ground and reduces vibration, and at least I'm hoping that that's part of the purpose that they're there. Okay, to move on to the Z-axis tower and the X-axis attachment here. This again is made out of 40 by 40 aluminum extrusion. The X-axis moves up and down using roller bearings, which is what's also used on the heated belt also. We've got our threaded rods here on both sides, held on top using acrylic and T-nuts to the top of the gantry there. And on the bottom here we use flex couplers, or they use flex couplers, which is a nice touch because it does help with vibrations. And I did try to move all of that up and down, and it does feel very solid. Doesn't look like any of it has been bent in shipping, which is really good. Another nice touch that I noticed here is the fact that all the wires are inside of a cable chain, a CNC cable chain, which is really nice because, again, I've noticed that a lot of companies that are making similar sized printers simply put a sleeve onto the cables, which I'm guessing in the long run with such a big printer is not the most protective of the wires. I did watch another video of someone else talking about this printer, and they were saying that they had noticed that their cables, when the x-axis is all the way to the left, they had noticed that the cables rub against the threaded rod down here. And I'm not sure if that's been fixed or not. I did talk to the company, and they said that they've fixed a lot of the things that people complained to them about with earlier versions, which again, that's very nice because a lot of companies just don't care as long as they get paid. But these guys seem to be willing to listen to their customers and fix it. And so once I put all this together, I'll be able to tell what they were able to do about that. And that's pretty much it about the Z tower and the x-axis. Oh, most importantly, you guys don't see an extruder on there. Well, the extruders are on the side here because they attach to the x-axis using all of these magnets that you see here. There are 8 of them. They're rare earth magnets, which means that if you want to go from single extruder to dual extruder, all you do is unplug all of your wires and pop this thing off, set it aside, put your dual extruder on, plug in the cables, and that's it. And I think the company has a video of how that process goes on their YouTube channel, and hopefully I remember to link to that. So again, that's something very unique and interesting. Down here, what you guys can see attached with all the cables is the control box that contains all the electronics. This gets attached to the back of this axis to have exact measurements. It's in their directions. I can't remember the exact directions, but I think it's 28 centimeters. They want you to, that's they have an exact height for it. But it contains a MKS Gen 1.4 board, which runs on a version of Marlin. I haven't put it together, but this is what I've been told by the manufacturer, that it does run on Marlin, and that the board is an MKS 1.4. Other than that, it does come with an LCD, which attaches to the side of the bed. You do get 2 rolls of filament. They were nice enough to actually give me the colors that I wanted. I know most companies just send you random colors, just on the off chance that they would be able to send me the colors that I didn't have. I asked for a couple of colors and they actually sent those exact colors. Okay, moving on from there, in front of that you see a couple of containers, and they have tools in them. They come with just some hex wrenches for tightening things around the printer. I'm not sure if they're actually used for the installation of any of the parts of the printer. I'll let you guys know after I put it all together. There is a interchangeable flathead and Phillips screwdriver. That's the handle for it. It fits into that and you can flip it around, and that's mostly used to tighten the bolts that hold the Z-tower to this floor plate. Moving on from there, what you guys will see here are acrylic filament holders that have bearings actually attached to them, and these guys again attached to the aluminum extrusions, and they go on top of this tower and they feed the filament down. We've got the power cable, a USB cable. We talked about the LCD already. This goes with, I believe I was looking on the backside and it does say MKS LCD, so I'm guessing it's built for the board that's in there. But I was also reading about this board, and it should be compatible with anything that works with a RAMPS 1.4, but I haven't tested that. So now we get to the good part, which is the extruders. The company makes 3 different versions of this printer. There is a basic, advanced, and supreme. And of course I got the supreme because, well, why not? What does that mean? Well, the Supreme Edition comes with a single extruder with a 0.8mm nozzle, another single extruder, but this is, according to them, made only for high temperature filament. So I'm supposing if you're printing polycarbonate, but apparently it handles very high temperatures. And when I first opened these two, I noticed that this single extruder actually has a fan attached to the side with a fan shroud, and this guy doesn't. And later when I realized that this is for the high temp, I guess it does make sense not to put a fan on the side, since most people don't use fans with higher temperature filament. And down here we have our dual extruders. They are side by side, and they have 0.4mm nozzles. The high temp and the dual extruders both have 0.4mm nozzles on all the extruders. The single normal extruder has the 0.8mm extruder nozzle. And again, as you guys can see, there is a radial fan attached. And what you guys can't see is that it actually does come with a fan shroud that directs the air onto both nozzles. But I think this is what they use to identify this setup as Supreme as compared to the Advanced, and that's the fact that this one comes with a laser engraver. I haven't used it yet, but from the tests that I saw on their YouTube channel, it does seem to work. If you're wondering what the extruders are, I believe that they are E3D V6 clones. Everything looks the same. I obviously just unpacked this. I haven't run any prints, but they look like E3D V6, but they're definitely clones. But they do look like they're good quality clones. I did see another user on YouTube show a video of the same printer, and they were looking at their extruder and the fan shroud, the fan that goes on the extruder was on the heatsink for the extruder was loose and was twisting around, but that's not the case here. So again, that must be one of the things that the manufacturer noticed and changed. The fans all sit on there very, very solidly. They don't move around. They were even nice enough to include a pair of glasses to go along with the laser engraver. I think that's everything that came in the box. Now I'll take you guys closer. We'll take a closer look at the extruders. Yeah, we'll go from there. Alright guys, let's take a closer look at one of the most important parts of a 3D printer, if not the most important. And I know that some of you guys are going to say, well, that's actually the board. Yeah, the board is very important, but I haven't opened it up, so we'll start with this. Okay, let's go with single extruder. Comes with a fan shroud attached to a radial fan. As you can see here, it is an E3D style extruder. This is the heatsink that you see here. The extruder fan is attached solidly. As I said, someone else mentioned that theirs was loose, but they must have fixed that. It does come with LEDs that once you plug this in, turn on. The back is the interesting part because that's where you find all those magnets that attach this to the x-axis. And again, someone was mentioning that their extruder had some sort of wobble. Once I put these on, I didn't see much of a wobble, but I did ask the manufacturer about that, and they responded that these should attach very solidly. But just in case they don't, all of the extruders come with holes for attaching them permanently onto the x-axis using screws. So if that is something that you notice that these do wobble, I guess there is a way to attach these permanently, which should fix all those issues. Alright, again, if I didn't mention, you can differentiate this from the high temperature extruder is the fact that you do have a fan shroud, you do have a radial fan, and that the nozzle is 0.8 millimeters. Here is our high temperature one. Looks exactly the same as the other, except for the fact that there is no fan, there is no cooling fan, and the fact that the nozzle is 0.4 millimeters instead of 0.8. Magnets, attachments are all the same, motor is the same, extruder setup is all the same. The connection here is very interesting, and this applies to all of these extruders, and that's the fact that all the connections are made through an RJ45 connection, which looks very similar to what an Ethernet cord would look like, and that's what makes it so easy to swap out these extruders. You plug in your power, you plug in the RJ45 that carries all the data cables from your board, and you can see those connections underneath. And what this allows them to do is to use the exact same RJ45, just one of them coming off the board, but by connecting them and having different connections on the different extruder setups, you can get single extruder or dual extruder with the exact same connection. And this is the exact same connection that G-Create uses on their G-Max 1.5 XT. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for the single extruders. But this printer does come with a dual extruder. This is pretty heftily made. They're all the red parts that you see here are 3D printed. As you can see, the name of the models on there, a T-Rex. All the parts seem like they do have a pretty decent amount of infill on them. They do feel pretty solid. I don't feel like I'm going to break this when I move these. They do feel solid. Again, you do have a fan shroud that runs all the way across, cooling at both nozzles. These nozzles are both 0.4 millimeters. They're both marked with L. I'm not sure if you can see that, but L for left and R for right. Again, utilize that same RJ45 connection and the power connection, which is, again, really nice that you don't have to rewire anything. As far as the extruders, again, they're the E3D V6 clones. Yeah, they look very, very well built. They don't look like they would fall apart. And if you notice, this guy does have more magnets and more connections, and well, that's good because this has 2 stepper motors instead of just one, 2 extruders instead of just one, and all the weight that goes with that. So I'm glad to see that these parts are so well built. A lot of times with these 3D printers that have 3D printed parts, they're there, but they're meant to be replaced almost as soon as you get them. But these guys, I can tell that they're solidly built. Okay, on to what makes this guy the Supreme Edition, and that's our laser engraver. I was looking around on this and I didn't see a label showing how many watts this is and or how strong this guy is, but their instructions does say that it is very powerful and that it should be used for durations of less than 2 hours or you may damage it. But as you can see, there is no RJ45, just a power connection. They do include software, one that was developed by them and another one that comes on the SD card. That's something that I did not mention earlier when I was talking about all this stuff, and it's the perfect time to talk about the LCD screen. The LCD does have a built-in SD card reader and a USB connection that is connected to the controller box. But once I put that on, you do have the capability of attaching via USB. The SD card does come with a version of Cura and profiles made by Formbot that you can put onto your Cura to give you the printer settings you need to run the printer. You do get safety goggles to use with the laser engraver. And before we move on, the SD card does have the software necessary to run the laser engraver. It also contains a test print that you guys can run, and it says that you should run that before you do anything else. But if it's the same file that I've seen on other reviews, it is pretty small, so don't expect a giant bull to come out of that test print. While we're here, you can take a closer look at the filament holders. Again, it will be attached to the aluminum extrusions using these T-nuts. It does have built-in bearings to make the movement of the filament easier. And because of the fact that these go on top and they are so smooth, you probably won't need a PTFE guide tube. But I suppose you can use one if you wanted to. Well, that's it about extruders. I will give you guys a quick walk around the bed and the electronics, but I haven't opened them up, and I probably won't open them up unless I need to, because they do look really well built. And we'll give you guys a closer look as to the wiring, the attachments. Well, as I said, I'm going to try to give you a closer look at everything. That's the LCD. It does say Formbot on the front. Here are the 3D printed parts and extruders, the hot ends, the laser engraver. Everything looks like it was built to last. It does look put together with a certain level of proficiency, and I have yet to find any pieces that seem to be misplaced or not put together correctly. Those are the tools that came with it. Two rolls of filament, the control box, and if we move closer you can see the flex coupler and the x-axis end stop attached to the side using a piece of acrylic. These again 3D printed parts. Here is that RJ45 connection that we were talking about earlier. What attaches the extruders to the board. You do have some fan connections, and you also have the power connection. Here are those famous magnets. There is the CNC cable chain, the attachment of the rods to the top using acrylic pieces again. Here's the bed. It does say Formbot on the front. Movement is very smooth, not loud at all. Again, power supply is under the bed. Here is the attachment. These are metal pieces. Attachment of the Z-axis to the bottom plate. You do get screws that are built in. It's attached on the bottom, and then you get a screw and a T-nut from this side to attach the Z-axis to the bottom plate. Alright, I think that's pretty much everything that we have here. Again, that is a heated bed. Comes with a piece of glass with attachments. You don't need to find a way to attach the glass to the bed. It does come with attachments built in. That's, again, another nice touch. Hey guys, thanks for watching my step-by-step walkthrough and unboxing of the Formbot T-Rex. If you guys did like it, please subscribe. I will be making more videos of this printer and others, and also showing off some of my prints. I will be showing videos of mods that I'll be doing to this printer, and hope to see you guys in the future.